Good afternoon, good evening, YouTube. My name is Dre, Cuts by Dre. This is another episode of New Styles Mobile Barber. This episode is going to be about the shop versus the mobile, the brick and mortar shop versus the mobile. But before we get started, I want to spin it back real quick, bring y'all that intro, bring y'all my intro. Then we're going to get into today's show, all right?
Number one of my class.
All right, today's topic is going to be the mobile barber shop versus the brick and mortar barber shop. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Once again, my name is Dre, Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber. This is an exciting topic for me. I own a mobile barber shop and I own a brick and mortar shop. And today I want to give y'all the breakdown on how much it costs to get into both of them, what's the benefits versus the negatives, the positives of either one of them, which one I think you should go into. I myself 30 years in the game, 30 years in a shopping center, and I just want to break down what I think is going to be the future of barbering. I'm sure if you checked out my other episodes, you already know where I'm leaning, but this is going to be a tutorial real quick. I record live, so forgive me for any mistakes. You know, I got all my notes here in front of me, so if you see me looking down, got my laptops up and running, got everything up and running, prepared to get this going, all right? So we're going to start, y'all. We're going to start with the shop, okay? We're going to give y'all a quick shop breakdown on how much it costs to open up a shop versus how much it costs to open up a mobile shop. We're going to start with the shop. I'm gonna give y'all some pictures, let y'all see exactly what's going on as far as my shop, what it took me to open up my shop, at least one of them anyway, and give you a pretty much a cost breakdown so you can decide for yourself if you're already in the game which way you want to go, which method you want to go. So let's get started. All right, the shop right here, okay? The shop, I got some pictures up here I want to just show y'all real quick. Getting started in the barber shop. First of all, opening up a barber shop, you got to go find you a location, preferably in a strip mall somewhere where you got a lot of traffic. Depending on the location, is going to depend on the costing, which is going to cost you to open up, and your monthly expenses. We pretty much talking about a good location. I'm inside of a shopping center, a pretty good location, good traffic flow, not the highest end of commercial locations, and definitely not the lowest end. So I'm pretty much giving everybody a medium ballpark figure of what it's going to cost to open up a shop. Picture up on the screen right now. You see a basic shopping center building. Nothing's in there right now, nothing on the wall. These are some pictures I took back previously before we opened up. This picture right here I'm showing you is the inside of that shop. Pretty much when you rent the shop, once you take care of your lease, everything, you get the keys to the building, you got you a blank canvas. Now this wasn't blank, you pretty much gotta renovate based on what the old tenants left in. Sometimes they don't clean it out all the way and you stuck with whatever mess they left behind. So not only do you gotta build it to how you want it, you gotta first clean up their mess. So it's a cost involved in that. And all the pictures you see, I pretty much did myself. My son, my team, we pretty much renovated the shop ourselves, so we saved us a lot of money on renovation costs. So I'm always going to throw a plus sign after all my numbers, because these numbers could go up depending on how fancy you wanted to do your store or your shop. So basically we're going to talk about the breakdown of the shop costs, and what we have here up top first is the leasing of the building. Pretty much to get in most average medium range shopping centers, you're going to spend about $1,000 to sign your lease, maybe pay that first month's up. They might give you a break on the first month so you don't have to pay it all up front right now. I know right now is a good time to get into shopping centers, because a lot of businesses are starting to go away from brick and mortar. A lot of businesses are going online, and there's a lot of vacancies out there in shopping centers and brick and mortar, so you can negotiate a little bit better right now. So this is a good time to jump on on a barber shop in a shopping center. Number one thing I got up here, the leasing of the building. We're talking about roughly $1,000 plus just to get you in. Then after that, you got utility deposits. Utility deposits, you're talking about your electric bill, your gas if you got gas, and your water bill. Pretty much those are deposits to get those cut on. You're roughly looking at around $300 plus to get you in the door with all your utilities. So your initial getting in the building, you're not talking about a whole lot of money. And of course, you got to get your insurance. Talking about another couple $100 there just to get you in, and then your build out. The build out I'm going to show you was the build out of my shop. It's a 5-station shop, basic shop, not high end, not low end, nice clean cut shop. Pretty much the average of what you're trying to do if you're trying to get out there. This picture right here was just a blank slate. Show you another picture up here. This picture here is pretty much, nothing's in there. We got to start from scratch. When you're starting from scratch in the shop, you got to start from scratch. You got to build it out. Right here, as you see, where we actually put up the wallpaper. We started building up the wallpaper. We got some slate wall panels that was up there already. I don't know if you can see in the previous picture, it was slate wall panels already on the wall there. So I went ahead and decided to use those anyway because I'm in the t-shirt business as well. I figured I can display some of my t-shirts up in the barbershop and try to sell them as well. So we kept the slate wall panels, so that was a good thing. Didn't have to go out and buy them. Didn't have to actually go and put them up. So then we went on to actually painting them. We had to paint them, put up the wallpaper. This is all a part of the build out of a stationary shop. We didn't like the floor, so after we painted everything, we dropped some lighting in, and you can kind of see a little bit bigger. We didn't like the floor we had, so we had to drop in a laminate floor. So all these cost money and take time, but this is pretty much the cost that you're going to have to endure if you're trying to start up a basic barber shop. Now this shop right here is about 1,500 square feet. There's some space behind that blue wall in the back, the bathroom back there, and whatever other thing you might have, an office set up or whatever you might have in the back. So you got to take in consideration your total square footage, not just the square footage that you're using for your shop. So these are some quick samples, some pictures that I'll show you how we came in and we started to renovate. Then after we laid the floor, after the floor was finished, then we decorated it up, put some fixtures up, trying to get it to our liking. Now, the build out in the shop is about $11,500. That's about the build out of this particular shop right here. So my total startup to get this shop was roughly around 13,000 plus. Now I put the plus on it because there are other things that you need to get, like a sign out front of your business, stationary business cards, seating, all kind of stuff that you need to get your shop up and running, is included in that 13,000 plus, because that's depending on how fancy you want your shop. My shop, it's a nice shop, not too fancy, not too high end. I can show you a picture here. This is where we actually started to build our stations out. These are pretty much stations I got from Home Depot. They're actually kitchen cabinets, really. And I actually got them. I didn't like the actual tabletop stations that you see in traditional barbershops, because for years I had them, and barbers just used to just leave so much mess on top of the station. It just wasn't clean looking. It really took away from the whole look of the shop and the sanitary aspect of the shop. So I came up with the idea to come up with these stations like this, turned to the side, and then I actually mounted mirrors on the front of them. Another picture here, you can see the first one has a mirror there. And I actually, started painting them as well. You can see that the bottom of the bottom is painted down here, and the mirror is up. So that's pretty much the style that I wanted to use for my shop. and you go down a little bit further, got a picture of kind of like the finished product and what it looked like when it all came together. Right here, I'll blow that up for you a little bit. That's pretty much a finished product of what you've seen from start to finish. It might take you about a month to get your shop up and running from start to finish. It might take you a couple of weeks depending on how fast you want to get in there and start making that money. But that costs pretty much, you're looking around about 13,000 plus for that. Now I went into the 5-year course. The 5-year course, and I'll tell you why I chose 5 years. First of all, a lot of businesses fail within the first few years. So if you make it to 5 years, you're pretty much doing something. You're on your way to something that could be pretty much successful and could put a dent in the community. The 5-year course you see down here, we're talking about an average rent here of $1,500 a month for the size building we have. That will probably differ across the country depending on where you are in the country. I'm sure you got rents that's higher than that. You may even have rents that's lower than that. But that's about the average you're going to pay for a nice building inside of a pretty nice shopping center, pretty clean, nice shopping center. So you're looking at that $1,500 a month. I took the 5-year deal because after 5 years of spending $1,500 a month, you will have spent $90,000 in rent. Now, of course, your startup cost is kind of low, $13,000. Then you start paying your rent, you start paying your utilities, insurance, and all that. Definitely can start making money right away. This particular example that I'm using has 5 stations in it, so you're collecting booth rent from 5 people or commission from 5 stations. So that's definitely profitable. Could be profitable right away depending on how you set it up. After 5 years, you're looking at about utilities, about $24,000 in utilities. And I did utilities at roughly about $400 a month. Now that's also a plus or minus figure as well, because electricity might be higher in different parts of the country. You might have a bigger place than some. Your insurance might be higher. You might use more water. You might be washing more heads. So all these numbers are definitely could rise substantially depending on the size of your shop and your location. But for ground basis, for this particular video, I think these is real numbers. These is my real numbers, okay? So this is not just I'm coming up with this off the top of my head. These is pretty much my real numbers plus maybe a little bit more depending on what type of advertising and marketing that you wanted to do. So at the end of 5 years, you're talking about spending about $127,000 after 5 years. And I'm gonna tell you why I chose the 5 years in just a minute. $127,000. That's a nice amount of money that you spent at the end of 5 years. And we're talking about every year you're spending about $18,000 in lease payments and rent payments for your building. And that's not going to go down. Rents only go up. I've never been in a situation, and I'm sure all of y'all out there watching have never been in a situation where rent has actually went down. Either at your home, your apartment, your business, rent's always going up. So that $18,000 a year is most likely going to go up and keep going up, depending on where you are. So we're going to switch over to the mobile side of things, and we're going to start from scratch with the mobile. And I like to, where I'm going with this. I'm sure some of my viewers that are watching my other videos kind of know where I'm headed to with this one. All right, let me find the startup picture. Had it in here, but don't. There you go. All right, this picture right here. We're going to the mobile shop. The mobile shop, pretty much just like the brick and mortar shop, you're starting off with a blank slate inside of your mobile van. But of course, unlike a brick and mortar shop, you got to purchase the van. You got to actually purchase the van first. So your pluses and minuses in this aspect is, with an actual brick and mortar shop, you don't have to purchase any expensive or extremely expensive items right up front. You could get a business loan to open up your shop if you don't have the money already, but with your regular shop, you don't have to purchase the building. You're only leasing it. So all you got to do is pay your deposits, sign your lease, and you're in there. Okay, but the mobile is a little bit different. The mobile shop, you actually have to purchase you some type of mobile van. I myself, I chose to go with the Nissan NV. I like this particular van because of the size of it. It wasn't too big, wasn't too small. It could get in tight locations around the city, get in and out of spots, and it was clean, very good on gas, very good on maintenance. No problems with it whatsoever after 5 years. So I talk about the mobile, and that's where my heart is at. That's where I think this business is going. I talk about a mobile and I want to compare the prices and startups. Now, with the mobile startup, you got to get a van. The cost of a van, and we're talking about a new van. I didn't want to go into used vans. Used vans, your cost can dramatically decrease with a used van. Nothing wrong with going with a used van, but with used vans, you got to deal with what the previous owner did or didn't do, all type of maintenance issues. I didn't want to deal with that. I wanted something nice, clean, something that I knew was going to be reliable to get me to my customers when I needed to. Every time I stick that key in the ignition, the baby starts up, and I know the maintenance history, so it's up to me to keep it up and running up to par. The cost of your van, you're looking at around $45,000, and I put that plus on it, and that can vary depending on what you get. Some of the Mercedes Sprinter vans start out over 50. This $45,000 right here, this is based on the van plus the finance costs if you got pretty decent credit. I'm not talking about excellent 800 point credit. I'm talking about pretty decent credit. If you got a 650 or better, you can get you a nice brand new van of this size, or even a little bit bigger, for about $38,000. And once you tack on your finance charges over the life of that loan, you're around $45,000, total. After 5 years, that's a 60-month plan. The build out, of course, this van right here doesn't come with anything in it. Like I said, you got an empty slate up here with nothing in it. So what you got to do, you got to start to build that out. I myself, I took it to a local place, and they did a pretty good job outfitting. The place called the Van House in the section where I'm at. This is a quick little video of how they started to build it out. They had to actually put in all the walls in. It came completely empty. The cabinets, the walls, the floor, seating area. You see, it's a lot of work. It's not something that the average person can undergo and do on their own. You will have to take your van to some type of custom van place that can do the job properly and right, because you're talking about a lot of electrical work. You're talking about fires can get started. You're actually running a mobile shop, driving around, and pretty much the same thing that you have inside your actual brick and mortar store. So what this is pretty much pictures that as the build when they actually started building it out. And these are some more pictures right here that I'm showing you that they they when they started building out. I didn't get the most luxury build out. As you can see, it's some nice mobile vans on YouTube. It's some laid out mobile vans, man, and mine is clean, but it's not the most extravagant. It's nice and clean. Got a nice little waiting area. Got your TV there. We got AC on the roof to keep the customers comfortable. But this is pretty much the build out that I'm showing you, just like the build out of the brick and mortar shop. You're starting from a blank canvas, and depending on how you want it to look, that's totally up to you how you want things to look in your particular shop or your mobile shop. So that's one thing that I love about it. As we went through this, man, I hooked it up how I wanted it. Got the TV in there, man. Like you can see, I'm zooming in. We had a TV in there. I don't know if y'all can see in the background. This was a little while ago. The Eagles and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So y'all know this go back a little bit. But, I'm an Eagles fan. I'm from Philly. So I like that I caught that picture right there with my Eagles on it. Back to the, what I'm supposed to be talking about. the mobile van, hooking it up how you want it to look, making it look nice, man, making it look how you want it to look. That's very important, and that will determine how much that van eventually ends up costing. Like I said here, the mobile van cost to build out for me was roughly about $22,000, somewhere roughly in that range. Now, I financed all of mine. I didn't have a lump sum of money to start up with. I did have decent credit. I did have a little bit of down payment money, so I did finance it. So you're looking at a monthly payment right here of $750 a month for your van. Then you're looking at another $420 a month for your build out. If you combine those two together, what's that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're looking at about 1170. You're looking at about $1,200 a month right there. $1,200 a month for your mobile. In the shop, your rent is about $1,500 a month for the shop. $1,500 a month plus your utilities, you're roughly looking at about $1,700. I'm sorry. You're roughly looking at around $1,900 to $2,000 a month to run your shop. Now, in the mobile, because you got these costs right here, like I said, you're looking at the 750 plus the 420, so you're roughly around 1,200 right there, plus the $400 for utilities, so you're looking at about 18 plus the 2 for insurance, so you're looking at around $2,000 a month. So if you notice, it's about costing you the same, fairly even. It might just be a hair cheaper to run your shop based on your rent, based on your location, but that's also the same with the mobile. It also, depending on what type of van you get, depending on what type of build out you're paying, you're kind of looking about the same in monthly operating expenses. Now, this is when the good part comes in. After 5 years, you spent about $94,000 with your mobile van. $94,000 after 5 years. I go back to the shop, you're spending about $127,000, give or take, to operate your shop, and that's with spending $18,000 a year on rent. But here's where the good part comes in when we talk about mobile. After that 5 years is up, that 94,000 drops down to only your utilities. That's it. You have no more overhead to pay for forever, for as long as you keep the van. Now, I say after maybe 10, 15 years, if you bought a new van, and that's one of the reasons why I suggest getting a new van, after 10, 15 years, you want to actually purchase another one. Man, the amount of money that you saved with $127,000, you will have enough money cash, if you prefer, if you want to actually open up that mobile van, or to actually buy another mobile van, so you can actually replace the one you have, or you can add another one to it and have 2 of them. So this video tells me that the best thing to do is to go mobile. I think it's the future. I think with the pandemic has changed the game out here. A lot of my customers, they love it. I'm trying to get everybody 100% on board. That's the way I want to go in the future. Nothing wrong with keeping the shop, though. Nothing wrong with keeping the shop, because I will say this about the shops. Everybody's not going to want to go pay the mobile price. You do have to charge extra for mobile, because you can't cut as many heads that you can cut in the shop, because you got to take in consideration travel time. So you're actually cutting your workload in half. So you pretty much got to double the price of your mobile cuts, and everybody's not going to want to pay that. But the good thing is, because you are mobile, you are able to travel. Hear me out now. You are able to travel to the people that will pay that price, and you end up only cutting about half the amount of heads per day. So you working a lot less. I noticed when the pandemic hit and I went, I was forced to go 100% mobile. I had both the shop. The shops was closed down for about 6 months by law, so I had no choice but to go 100% mobile. And I noticed not only did my clientele pick up. Well, I don't even want to compare clientele to that time because shops was closed, so of course you had a lot of business. But even now the shops are back open. I got a ton of mobile business, and I don't have to cut as many heads per day. I don't have to stand up on my feet all day long cutting in the barbershop. You get to cut a head, and then you actually get to sit down and drive to the next customer. So I noticed at the end of the day, doing mobile all day, I'm not tired. I still feel good, still got a lot of energy, able to go anywhere I want to eat for lunch, and have the money to do whatever it is you want to do because you're able to get that premium rate. So, in my best opinion, as far as the shop versus mobile, my number one opinion is I believe you need to go mobile. Mobile versus brick and mortar, I think mobile wins. I'm definitely a big fan of the mobile barbershop. I just gave you the basic breakdown. After 5 years, you actually own your mobile barbershop. No more rent. All you have to pay is utilities. And the utilities that I'm talking about in your mobile shop is gas. The gas that you got to pay when you go to the gas pump. That's pretty much compared to the electric bill, the water bill, the gas bill that you will pay in your brick and mortar shop. After 5 years, that's all you had to pay. So your profits go through the roof. Now, I know some of y'all are saying, well, what about the other 4 barbers or the other 5 barbers I was collecting booth rent from? You didn't even factor in how much money I was making from them. No, I didn't. This was basically the cost I was talking about. Another episode, I will get into how much money you can benefit plus or how much money you might lose if you did go, if you shut down your shop. And this is pretty much for shop owners. I'm speaking to all barbers. If you're not a shop owner, that don't even apply. You need to go straight mobile 100%. Nothing to talk about, nothing to discuss. But if you are a shop owner, question is, should I shut down my shop and go 100% mobile and lose the booth rent that I was collecting and then have everything fall back on me? Well, that's something that you got to think about. That's something that you got to lay down. You got to get your paperwork together, put the numbers together, crunch the numbers, and see which one is beneficial for you. I'm going to have a video based on that coming up soon as well. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you hit the like button, man. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be dropping new content once a week. I do all my videos live, so I ain't got to do a whole bunch of editing so I can get them out as soon as possible, because I am a busy person. So make sure you subscribe to me. If you like what you heard, make sure you tell somebody. And oh yeah, one other thing I forgot to mention. All right, for all my customers out there, when you book your next appointment, the YouTube code for that discount off your haircut is shop versus mobile. All lowercase. Make sure you put the space after shop and the space after versus, all lowercase. Punch that in at the coupon code section during checkout, and you will receive a discount on your next appointment. Once again, I want to thank y'all for checking me out, and I will see you in the next video.
Number one of my class.